Hey guys, it's Ken here. I know it's been a while since I've been posting stuff, but I thought today I could talk about my experiences as a math major at San Jose State University. And part of the reason why I posted this was because I've seen lots of people who post videos about their own experience at San Jose State. And as a young kid who's just graduated from community college and trying to go to San Jose State, I always wondered what's it like for a math major to be there at San Jose State and what did they go through. And so having done that and having graduated with a sorry, a bachelor's in applied mathematics, I thought I would take the time to share with you guys what I've gone through. So perhaps for any of you guys who are majoring in math at San Jose State, you kind of get a sense of what it's kind of like being a math major. Although I've only done the applied and computational math track, I think I know enough to be able to share all these details with you. And so starting off, in community college, I was getting my associate's degree for transfer in mathematics. For anyone who doesn't know, associate's degree for transfer is an associate's degree that's geared towards transferring to a CSU system. The way it works is that if you get the associate's degree for transfer, let's say, for example, you're doing associate's degree transfer in mathematics. If you complete those 2 years that's expected to complete this degree, that associate's degree is sort of like a certificate, a gold stamp and proof that shows that you've done all the necessary lower division coursework in order to be able to transfer to San Jose State. Basically saying you met all the lower division requirements for your degree, and now you're ready to transfer. And so you don't have to get it, but it's kind of nice to have. And having that sort of guarantees you admission to CSU system, but not to any particular school. So while you're guaranteed to have some kind of spot, like some leeway into CSU system, you're not specifically guaranteed to be able to go to any CSU you want because you still have to meet the requirements. But for San Jose State's case, their requirements for applied math majors pretty light. You just need a 2.0 GPA, but more would be better. It's generally not very impacted, so anyone can get in quite easily. But for one particular concentration, the applied and computational mathematics track, they don't allow you to pick that as an alternate or backup major. Now, I assume it's because it's very high in demand compared to other concentrations. So I guess it's a little impacted or not, but not to the point where it's heavily impacted where you need a bunch of requirements in order to get into the degree. But generally it's very open, so very easy to get into. And it's also a good alternative. Say if you want to do computer science or software engineering, but you don't have the GPA to get in. Applied math is probably the closest you could get to that field. The only difference is that you need a little bit more math classes than what you're typically accustomed to with a CS or software engineering degree. But fortunately, they have some flexibility where you can do CS courses as a math major. Which leads me to my experience at San Jose State. So after I got my associate's degree for transfer, I transferred over to San Jose State University into the applied and computational mathematics track. And the process was pretty straightforward. You have orientation where your advisors would talk a little bit about the math degree, what it entails, and give you a sense of what to expect. Things like, well, every semester you got to meet with your advisor once where you can discuss, plans for your semester. In fact, in order to register for any classes in particular, you have to meet your advisor. And usually you're told who your advisor is towards the end of your first semester. But if anything, usually the math department website has some sort of way for you to find out who your advisor is based on your major. So if you're applied in computational mathematics, if you're doing that concentration, if you go to the math department website, you should be able to find a directory that tells you who are typically the advisors for people in that concentration. Or things like otherwise, you can just talk to the math department. I'm very confident that they'll help you figure it out. And so back to the coursework. So I don't know, you guys might be a little different if you're doing a different concentration, but when I did applied and computational mathematics concentration, I ended up doing the applied math track which is the more heavily math-based one, which is pretty good. I mean, the course load, I would say it's very unique, very interesting. You take courses like differential equations and dynamical systems, which is like Math 134. That's what's known right now. You also take Math 161A, which is applied probability and statistics, which is basically calculus-based statistics, which is, as well as other coursework. There's a lot to be said about those, but generally you're taking like a lot of these like basic upper division coursework, sort of like undergraduate level division coursework. And one thing I recommend is that your first semester you should definitely get through 161A, because for some of you guys that's the gatekeeper to lots of different other classes. And not to mention that that if you're doing, especially if you're doing the stats concentration, you need that course done in order to advance to any other course. Or if you're trying to take probability theory, then you need to take that course done. So you take those courses first, the ones like 161A, I think 134 if you can. There's also 178, math modeling, and I think there's other ones too, but you have to check the website for that. But once you get through those, then you have more leeway on what courses you could take, as you go about your math major. And I have to say the coursework, it's pretty flexible. I mean, there's many different fields you can go into. There's numerical analysis, calculus-based, and then matrix-based. There's also vector calculus, and also complex analysis, and there's also combinatorics. There's a wide range of math courses you can choose from. So generally in this degree, you could expect yourself to be sort of like a generalist, in the sense that you're generally just going through every single branch of math possible. Like you're getting a little bit of everything. General. So a lot of that doesn't quite translate into employable skills that you could use for the job market, which is why oftentimes when you're in this degree, you're often recommended that you take on a minor if you can. And the major does allow for it, because 2 of your courses, have to be elective courses that complement your major. And it could be computer science, economics, or biology, or physics, or whatever fancies you. For me, I did computer science because it's, I think, compared to all the other content fields, it's probably the closest to math. And plus, my goal is to do something in data science, and so computer science was something that I felt was relatable to my major. Plus, I did a bunch of computer science coursework for lower division, which was required by applied mathematics, especially lower for like electives or lower division prep work. Like you have to take some lower division prep courses, and I chose computer science because that's what was available at my community college, and because it relates to my goals in data science. So I took CS 46A and CS 46B, which are basically the intro to computer science, data structures, and whatnot, sort of the lower division. And then I took, for my 2 electives, I took 146, which is data structures and algorithm, a very essential course that you need to take in order to be able to take almost any other CS course. Sort of like the gatekeeper for CS courses. And then after I passed CS 146, I also took CS 122, which is advanced Python programming, because one of the biggest languages right now is Python, and I want to be able to learn all the advanced features of Python so I can use it for data science and do a lot of good work in Python. Because while I already have some background in Python, I think knowing a bit more is nice to have. And it worked though, because thing is, if you take on a minor that's acceptable by your major, you can basically have your courses double count, which means for my case that since I took a bunch of CS lower div as well as 2 CS electives, they counted not just for my major but also for a minor, which means You basically got two birds with one stone. You got a minor, your major coursework done. Plus, as a nice bonus, you have a minor attached to your major, and that minor, it's really going to help you stand out though, because it shows you like what kind of flavor of applied math or what kind of special extra skill sets that you have to complement your major. Especially since, as I mentioned before, a lot of the coursework that you're taking as an applied math major, unless you're going to grad school or doing more of the theoretical math though, you probably won't find that very applicable to the direct job market right now, especially since a lot of the jobs right now are geared towards software or data science or machine learning, a lot of which requires a graduate level study in mathematics and requires something a bit more applicable, say some programming skills. But with applied math major, if you pick your courses carefully, you can get a bunch of nice stuff to go along and add to your resume and really make yourself stand out. Some of which include the CS minor, courses that are nice to have that helps you appreciate some of the nuances of data science, like numerical analysis, which I found very helpful, mathematical modeling, and Math 161A and B, basically the two-part applied probability and statistics courses that are offered at San Jose State. The calculus-based statistics, which I'm talking about. Those courses, though, add a lot to your understanding, especially of data science, if you're going into that. And the CS minor gives that programming background that you need, computer science background too, that you need in order to advance in that kind of field. While most of the work you'll be doing don't directly involve that, having some solid background in math will help you appreciate many of the concepts taught in data science. Especially since with machine learning and data science being popular, one issue that people have with computer scientists is that they don't know enough statistics to be able to develop and create and design all these methods for doing effective data analysis and processing data. And then one issue with math majors is that they don't have enough coding or computer science background to really implement these ideas and put them into practice. But as a math major, you kind of at an advantage because programming is something that you can kind of pick up on your own. And plus, a lot of computer science concepts have a basis in math. So if you're a math major, well, good for you. You have that solid background that you need to really jump into a very technical field like computer science. So it's all about matter of learning on your own to be able to build up your coding skills in order to hit a field like data science. And especially when you get to more of the hardware stuff like deep learning, machine learning, a lot of which requires a really strong math background. And so having a math major actually gives you an advantage in that you have such much more of a deeper theoretical underpinning of the concepts behind data science. So I think I'm kind of going overboard with the whole data science thing, but it's such a very hot field right now that you can't deny its impeccable influence across the industry right now, and how much it's just been shaping every aspect of our lives, and especially with the job market right now being geared towards that area right now. And so as a math major, you need to be aware of that, and especially if you're considering to work right after you graduate from college, you have to build some of these skills on your own. Because while I enjoyed a lot of the coursework at San Jose State, a lot of these things you kind of have to pick up yourself. So in that case, with programming or learning how to work with databases like SQL, for instance, like that, some of it you have to learn yourself. So, and that's kind of what I did when I was at San Jose State University. I knew I wanted to get into data science, but I knew that the coursework at San Jose State isn't enough to get me there. So what I did was I supplemented a lot of my learning with learning through platforms like Udemy or Coursera, which are two of the most biggest platforms for learning online. And it's cool because you pay one flat fee, and it's very cheap though. Udemy, during their discount periods, it's $10. And for Coursera, it can be as much as $40 or $80. You pay that much for a course that you could just do on your own time. Like there's no schedule, no homework assignment, And if you commit to it and you pace yourself well enough, you can come out with a certificate and a bunch of job skills that you could put on your resume. It's a way to enhance your job skills and add on to what you're learning. It's not going to replace a 4-year degree, of course, but it can enhance it in a way that makes you more employable to many employers out there that are looking for talented individuals, people that stand out to them, people that are worth hiring. So don't forget that learning on your own is important as well. And another thing is you also want to get some internship experience or just kind of work experience. If not work experience, then doing projects of some kind, because those count as experience and a way to market your skills and show what you're capable of. So internships, I think the biggest barrier for people trying to get into internships is the fact that most internships usually require that you have some kind of experience before you enter it, or that you have certain skills that they want. And so some of it you can supplement with just reading on your own or learning on your own. And other times you could if you can, maybe add some part-time experience if you can. Like see if your school has a tutoring job or something like that, or maybe a part-time job as a software company, or perhaps places that are open to college students, with just any kind of experience or things like that. Or because for me, my case was a little interesting, because in community college, I did a class project that ended up being recognized nationally. So when I was in Evergreen Valley College, I did a physics project that involved a lot of data analysis and programming, automating data collection and sorting. And I did that for a year, and to the point where we end up getting our project nationally recognized at a national science conference. And from then on there, we end up having it sort of published, recognized, and not to mention that we all that work that I did not only gave me a bunch of valuable skills and experience, like how to program, how to do problem solving when you're working with helping people on your team get to the goal that they want. Especially since you might be working with people with physics backgrounds or chemistry backgrounds that you may not be familiar with, but your job is to help them create methods that help them do their work. So it gave me all that experience, plus a lot of extracurricular. So, I did some volunteer work that helped to promote and encourage high school students and college students to major in STEM. So it was sort of like a beacon of hope for some community college students, because it showed them what community college students are capable of. Like, you don't have to be a 4-year 2 student to be able to do this kind of research. And so I did that for a year, and that surprisingly was very relevant, because later on, during my time at San Jose State University, I decided to apply for a part-time research gig at a community college district, the community college that I went to, which was Evergreen Valley College. I applied to the district office, and they actually had a job for me that surprisingly involved a lot of math, that required a math background. It was a research assistant, which involved a lot of data analysis and data formatting and conducting studies that help people understand different aspects of the school experience and what they can do to improve it, which could be used by counselors to figure out how to best, help students, or administrators who want to know how well the school's doing. And so that was another opportunity for me to build some valuable skills that could be applied to anywhere, and to build my experience doing some kind of data science or data analysis. So I did that for 6 months, and part of the reason I was able to get it, because not only did I have an associate's degree, I also had that 1-year experience working on a project, as well as a bunch of extracurricular experience that proved that I was committed to serving students and supporting the school's mission. So yeah, extracurricular does count. So if you have a leadership position in a club, or you're doing projects outside of class that don't involve getting paid for it, that works too, because it shows that that it gives you that background that shows people like what you're capable of and what your work ethic is. That still counts as experience. And then once you get a job or something like that, then you can start adding in more job experience and whatnot. As well as if you do learning on the side, you could add more skills to your resume. And so I did that research gig for a bit, and it ended up being probably one of the best things I've ever done, because when I was working there, I met a guy who was a stats major who just got his master's in stats, and a lot of things that we did kind of together involved a lot of data science or statistical analysis. We would talk about machine learning, we talk about data science, and it just really opened my eyes to a whole new world and made me realize that, surprisingly, statistics is a route that relates a lot to data science, and that there's a lot of data science involved in education. And so from there on out, I left that position feeling happy and motivated, knowing what I wanted to do. I told myself, like, I don't know what I wanted to do, but I know I need to get a master's in stats to do that, because I liked the work that I was doing and I want to keep going with it. And this was during my last year at San Jose State University. So knowing that, I realized that the coursework I take from then on out will matter. So that's when I started taking Math 161B. I mean, I didn't have to, but I did it anyway to build that stats background, sort of help myself test the waters and see how much I like stats. And then I also took combinatorics, which surprisingly is very important in stats, because a lot of the probability distributions have some combinatorics basis in them. And then as well as doing advanced Python programming, because Python is a powerful language, again, as I've said, in data science, and knowing a lot of Python is very useful for that. And then by the end of my last semester in San Jose State, what happened was that I graduated San Jose State during probably one of the worst times to graduate, COVID-19. And I remember feeling a bit down on my luck because I couldn't find a job or internship. Because around that time, I applied for an internship that was supposed to happen this summer, but unfortunately it got canceled. And so I was a bit down on my luck for internships or just something to do over the summer, until I came across a startup that my friend was telling me about. So around the time after I graduated, I was looking for work, just something to do before I consider going to grad school, which is next year. And so one of my friends was talking to me about this wonderful startup that she was going to join. And so she got me connected to the CEO of that startup. And then I did the interview, and it was mostly just talking about the job and just kind of getting to know each other. And the position I was kind of into was the software development position, engineering position. And we talked a little bit about data science, Python, and what it entailed. And I ended up liking it, because I've always been interested in more of the software side of data science, and I wanted to really explore and see what I'm capable of and get some nice skills that are useful along the way, like database management or doing things in SQL or building web apps and stuff like that. And that's stuff I never done before, but I wanted to try it out and add some valuable skills, because I'm young, like I'm 23, and I want to be able to explore and expand my horizons. So I decided to join the company, and it was fun. It's definitely going to be challenging though, but it was rewarding in that I'm learning a lot every day. I got a wonderful team, wonderful CEO, wonderful boss, really flexible schedule, and great coworkers though, who were very friendly and very helpful. And I'm feeling pretty good about myself, and hopefully, I get to keep going with this, as far as I can go. And so yeah, that's kind of where my career trajectory has gone. There's definitely a lot more to it, but that's all I could think of right now, as to how far I've gone as a applied math major. And things like that, and how I've gone. And so I guess in general, to looking at the entire degree itself, I would say it's pretty well rounded, and which can be a good thing because you get introduced to a little bit of everything, and depending on your interest and what piques your interest, you can consider pursuing it later. One flaw I think that I might see with this major is that there's not a lot of skills that you could translate, that you learn there, that could directly translate to employment. And that can be quite frustrating because you're learning all this wonderful stuff that doesn't have much use in the actual job market right now. But a lot of it you can compensate by picking job skills on the side, learning them on the side, and as well as, given the amount of flexibility you have as a math major, you could take courses that are the closest to the field of interest that you're getting into. So if you're a data science, you want to pick more data modeling courses, numerical analysis, or some stats courses, because those are probably the most relevant out of anything else. And while you don't necessarily need a lot of theory, but knowing the theory is nice to have. So, and I bet that there's definitely going to be a lot of questions about what the math degree entails and what that is. And so if you guys want to talk about it or anything, feel free to leave a comment down below, or stay tuned for more videos on my channel, or if you want, you can talk to me on Instagram. My Instagram handle is Can You Do It? So KenYouDoit, Can You Do It 123, all lowercase. And those are numbers. So Can You Do It 123. So you can message me there, talk about it, and because what I want to hope is that while I never had this kind of experience before, where there's someone I kind of looked up to who's kind of a model, or someone who has been there, done that with being a math major at San Jose State, I want to be there for you guys. I want to help understand and really, help you guys get a better understanding of what math major is. And while I don't know everything, I want to be able to hear your story and perhaps maybe help you guys, give some tips or advice, or just some of my thoughts about this, because this is your education and you deserve all the help, opportunity that you can get to know more about it and make the best possible decision to really further your education, because this is your investment that you're making, and it's up to you to decide how you go about it. So thank you guys for watching. You guys want to contact me or anything, be sure to subscribe to this channel. Check out the description for links to my Instagram account and other relevant resources that I feel are useful. And hope to see you guys in the next video. So take care.